Hello guys, and once again welcome to Accounting Fun. In my last video I have discussed about the current assets. Now again we will be moving a step forward and discussing another element of balance sheet, which is current liabilities. Now before we move on what all are the components of current liabilities, let's look into what are current liabilities actually. So as the name suggests, liabilities which are current. So it needs to satisfy the following criteria. It is expected to be settled in the company's normal operating cycle, and normal operating cycle, as I have already told you, it's generally of 1 year or 12 months as you say it. So any liability which is due for just 1 year or 12 months of a business cycle, it's called as current liability, and it is normally held for the purpose of trade. So it is expected to settle within 12 months, and the company has doesn't any right to defer settlement of the liability for at least 12 months after the reporting date. So that means needs to be settled within 12 months. And any other liabilities which are not settled within 12 months are termed as non-current liabilities. Now let's see what all are the various components of these current liabilities. The first one, as we name it, are the provisions and recognition. So a provision are recognized as a liability in the balance sheet because it has an entity's present obligation. Let me tell you what are provisions. So provisions are basically a certain kind of amount which is being kept at a foresight for any kind of contingencies, right? Contingency could be in any form. Suppose you have owed money to someone. Now they have become your debtor. You have a doubt that some from those debtors might become bad debts. Now, what are bad debts? Bad debts are those amounts which will never come back. So that's why you have a doubt on them. So they are also called as doubtful debts. So what you will do? Suppose if you have lent 1 lakh rupees to someone, now in the for the same 1 lakh rupees you will make a provision of another 1 lakh, so that in case that 1 lakh that person does not pay you back, so you could recover it from that provision. So it is basically it is a present obligation of a past event. You have already owed that amount to someone, and now you have a kind of doubt that it will not come back to you. So that's why you make a provision of that. It's a reliable estimate that is made, and it is a probability basically that an economic outflow will not come back. Another component are contingencies and commitments. Now, what are contingent liabilities? Contingent liabilities are basically kind of possible obligation that will arise. So, anything from the past event, it will occur or non-occur because of the one or more future uncertain events that are not under your control. It could be anything, like it could be from any natural calamity that might occur to your business. Now, it is not expected always for your business that any natural calamity will take over, but it's again a kind of certainty or uncertainty, as you name it. So, these are again a kind of obligation, so you make provision for that, so that is contingent liabilities. And it is always not probable that an outflow of resources will result in economic benefit only. So, that's why you make provisions for this. Now, moving on, we have contingent liability, which we will classify into claims against the company not acknowledged as debt, guarantees, and other money for which the company is contingently liable. And commitments are basically the estimated amount of contracts which are remaining to be executed on capital account not provided for. Any uncalled liability on shares and other investment partly paid, other commitment. These are the commitments. You have committed this amount. Now let's look at some example for this. Akash Limited suppose has provided a printer with a 1 year guarantee for parts and labors. Now the businessman or the proprietor already know that the 70% of the printers are not under the warranty claims, 25% have minor defects, and 5% will be requiring replacement or something. Now for this he is going to make certain kind of provision. What will be this provision? So let's see how he is going to record it. The estimated warranty experience and warranty provision will be determined by applying the probability of each outcome to the cost of each outcome. So now expected value is 70% of nil. Why this nil? If we go back to the question, so we will find out that 70% of the printers are not subject to warranty claims. So that means they don't have a value because they don't have a warranty. It means that if you have bought it, That's your own liability. So that's why they will become zero as soon as you buy them. Now 25% will have a minor defects. So 25% will be 1 lakh units, or 25% you will calculate, that will be around 1000 25,000, and 25,000 will have a cost of 5 each, 5 rupees each. So 25,000 into 5 will give you 1 lakh 25,000. Now same for 5% of 1 lakh will have a 25 unit approximately. So again 1 lakh 25,000. So estimated warranty expense will be somewhere around 2 lakh 50,000. Now you have to make a provision of this 2 lakh 50,000. Now let's look into some company accounts and shares and debentures. This is another component which is recorded under the equity component. So let's look into the equity framework of a company. So basically there are two types of companies: limited companies and unlimited companies. Limited companies have basically again three kind of capital: the authorized capital, the share capital, and other funding. So this authorized capital is again issued, and then issued capital is, suppose you have an authorized capital of 1 lakh, that is you can raise amount through equity of rupees 1 lakh. From this you issue a capital of 80,000 rupees. Now again from this 80,000 you call up only 60,000 rupees, and from the 60,000 only 40,000 people paid you. So this become your paid up capital. Now this share capital is divided into preference share and equity share or ordinary share as you name it. Now this is again issued either in the form of shares or debentures. So shares are basically your capital, equity capital, and debentures become your liability, because on debentures you pay interest and on equity you pay dividend. Now out of this there are certain reserves you make. So as I told you about the provision, same way you have reserves also. There are some commitments or liability that the company has to make. Either you face the profits or you face the losses. So in this case, you make reserves. When you make reserves out of your revenue, that is the amount which you earn through your sales or major operating activity, that is called as revenue reserve. And capital reserve, the reserve which you make out of your equity capital. Now, a limited liability company is a legal entity and the existence of the limited liability company. So the owners are called as the shareholders, and each company is governed by two documents known as the memorandum and articles of association. These are again some basics which I am telling you. Now I have already told you, or you can go through these kind of capital, what all these are: the authorized capital, the issued capital, called up, and the paid up capital. Now Now there are two kinds of share capital. First is the preference share. So preference shares are basically whenever the dividend will be announced, they are given preference over the other shareholder or the equity shareholder. So the equity shareholder are the last owners of whatever profits or they get in the form of dividend. Now preference shares are again in the two forms. First is the cumulative preference share, second is the non-cumulative preference share. So cumulative preference share basically have any unpaid dividend that can be carried forward to a later year. And non-cumulative preference share are the unpaid dividend that cannot be carried forward. You have to pay within this accounting year. And the ordinary shares are not fixed. They do not have fixed dividend. They depend on the return of the company. So, what is the paying liability, or you can say paying hierarchy of the company? First of all, it will pay to the bank any kind of loan if it has to pay interest and all. Then it will pay to the debenture holders. Then come with a number of preference shareholder. They will get a fixed interest return on their, or fixed rate of dividend on their income. And then last is the equity shareholder. If anything is left over, then that will be distributed among the equity shareholder as an earning or as a dividend. Now here also company has two options. Either they could retain the entire earning or they could distribute it. So that become the part of retained earnings. Now let's look into this example of cumulative preference shares. So basically a company has a net profit or loss of 1,000, 2,000, and 50,000. So initial for the 2 year it has a loss of 1,000, then 2,000, and at the last it has a profit of 50,000. Now it has issued 5,000 10% cumulative shares of $1 each. So what will be the dividend on each? So it will pay for the first and second year, since it has no profit, so it is not going to pay the dividend. But in the third year, it has a profit of 50,000, so it will pay a dividend of 1,500. In the same manner for non-cumulative, that one was for the cumulative preference share. Now, what will be the case for non-cumulative? That you will get a 10% dividend, so 5,000 10% dividend, 500 rupees as a dividend you will get. Now, what are the ordinary shares? The dividend of ordinary shares are not fixed, they depend on the return of the company. So, as I told you, that if the company has profit, then only they will declare this. If they have loss, then they are not going to declare the dividend. Debentures are basically a kind of loans. These are long-term loans for the company which set out the rate of interest payable and the redemption date. So redemption is that the date when the entire debentures are going to be redeemed by the company. So what happens when company needs funds sometime, they raise or they issue these debentures to the general public. General public purchase these debentures and again some amount of money which they lend to the company at a certain amount or at a certain date. Suppose these are issued for 6 months or 1 year. So after 6 months or 1 year, the company is going to redeem that. That is, they are going to buy back these debentures from the general public and issue them the interest along with their principal amount. Reserves are the profits or gain which accrue to the ordinary shareholder and they are undistributed profit. So company has reserved them. Reserve is any particular amount that is being reserved for a specific kind of activity. And revenue reserves are undistributed trading profits and they can be used to pay the dividend. But on the other hand, capital reserves are profits arising out of non-trading or non-operating activity and you're not going to distribute them as dividend. Rather, they will be utilized for certain other purposes. Now, if we look into the example of some reserves, so there are share premium, revaluation reserve, and capital redemption and debenture redemption reserve. So, share premium are used to write off any kind of preliminary expenses, any kind of expenses which are used to issue shares, commissions, discount of shares. Now, there are certain expenses also that the company has to pay. So, this all include the share premium. Revaluation reserve is basically any kind of unrealized gain that will increase in the value of asset after revaluation. So any kind of gain, suppose your asset has a current value of 1 lakh. Let's say because mostly this happens in case of land only that it value appreciates. Otherwise, in other cases, the value of asset depreciates. So suppose your land has a value of 1 lakh today for sale, and after 5 years, it's going to be valued at 2 lakh. So this difference of 1 lakh rupees is a revaluation reserve for the company. And then the capital redemption reserve and debenture redemption reserve. This will arise when the company is going to redeem its shares or debentures from its retained profits. Now, if you look into the difference between shares and debentures, the relationship is that the shareholders, the person who holds the shares, are called the shareholders, and debenture holders are called the creditors for the company. Shareholders get the dividend, debenture holder gets the interest. The debenture holder first of all get their fixed amount of interest. After that, whatever is due or remaining from that, dividends are being paid to the shareholders. And even in that, the preference shareholders are given preference over the ordinary shareholders. That's why they name are preference shares. Now, how they're treated in balance sheet? So debentures are treated as liability because anyhow, if you have profit or loss, you have to pay them. So that's why it's a liability for you. And then in balance sheet, their preference shares and ordinary shares are treated as share capital. Now let's look at how you're going to raise the capital issue of shares and debentures. So basically, shares are issued at three different cases. First, they are issued at par. The par is also called as the face value. Now, suppose if a company has a share which has a price of 10 rupees and it issues at the same price, so that's why it is called as the issued at par. Now, sometimes the company has a higher value, it has a brand name. So that's why they issue their shares at premium. And this premium could be as high as much the company wants. Now, a company could sell a 10 rupee share at 120 rupees because it has a goodwill of that much that the people will buy anyhow at whatever price the company is going to share. Now, sometimes the company also sell its shares at a lower price, which is called as shares issued at discount. Now, if we look into what is the forfeiture and reissue of share, so if any member or any shareholder fails to pay the call requested from him, then his or her shares are getting forfeited. Any amount, let's say it's the first call, final call, or any kind of amount which is being called by the company, and if he or she fails to pay, then shares are forfeited, and these forfeited shares are again reissued in the share market to another shareholder. Now, right issue is an offer to the existing shareholder to subscribe for more shares in proportion to their existing shareholder at a cheaper price. Suppose you are an old shareholder to the company or you are trusted shareholder. If I have to name this term, you are a trusted shareholder of a company. Then you are eligible for rights issue. And again, the company can issue bonus shares to you in case if it has good profits, if it wants to distribute this profit. So rather than distributing it as dividend, they decided to issue more shares to to the shareholder. That's why it is called as bonus issue. Sometimes company also buy back their shares. Now, buyback of shares could be understood where the company buys share back from its shareholders. Why it do so? So, because it wants to improve its earning per share amount, it wants to improve its return on capital and return on equity to provide additional exit route to shareholder when share are undervalued. These are certain advantages of buyback. How it could buy back? So basically, it could buy back through free reserves to security premium account and proceeds of fresh issue as well. Let us look into what are the debentures. So debenture, as I told you, it's a written acknowledgement of debt. These are long-term loans. Remember, these are not something which will be issued to the shareholders and they will become entitled to your company. They will become owners of the company. No, it's a fixed liability which the company will pay off after some time. And the rate of redemption and security given by the borrowing company are governed by a trust deed. There is a trust deed between the company and the debenture holder. Now the accounting treatment is basically how you have to treat this debenture. So it is the same as that of shares. Only the thing is that the name is changed. And against debenture, you don't issue any kind of dividend and all, but you pay a certain amount of interest. And same as in the case of shares, so you can also issue debentures at par, at premium, or at discount. So that's all in today's videos. In case you have any queries, do put up in comment box and do not forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.